Imagine this. A star player, the one the entire team is built around, clutches their knee. The whole stadium just goes silent. We've all seen that moment, right? But what we don't see is the financial shockwave that starts right then and there. That single moment of pain, it has a massive multi-million-dollar ripple effect that most of us never even think about.
So yeah, when a key player gets injured, of course we see the impact on the scoreboard, right? We see the team's chances of winning take a nosedive. But what is the true financial cost to the organization? It's a question that goes way, way beyond just covering a player's salary while they sit on the bench.
Okay, let's just start with a big, shocking number. 45.2 million euros. Now, this isn't the total cost of all injuries in a league. No, no. According to a recent study, this was the loss in TV rights income alone for teams that underperformed in a single season of Spain's La Liga. That's money that just, poof, vanished, directly linked to performance drops where injuries were a huge factor.
And that number, as big as it is really just the tip of the iceberg. We're talking about millions upon millions of dollars being left on the sideline, literally. So in this explainer, we're going to break down exactly how these staggering costs add up, and we're going to use some hard data from the world of pro sports to do it. So where are we getting all this info? Well, we're looking at two really key sources. The first is a fantastic deep dive study into the economic impact of injuries in European soccer. The second is an amazing comparative report from Harvard Law School that looks at health policies across the NFL, MLB, and other major North American sports leagues. Together, they give us this really powerful, data-driven look at the problem.
Let's start with that soccer study. It found that in Spain's top league, La Liga, just your common muscle injuries cost teams an average of over 365,000 euros every single month. Just think about that for a second. That's not a one-off hit. It's a constant, predictable financial bleed month after month after month.
So who's feeling this the most? Well, this chart breaks down that monthly cost by where a team finishes in the league. And it's pretty clear. The top teams, the ones in that first quartile, Q1, they're spending over €1 million a month on injured players. Now compare that to the lower-ranked teams in Q4, who are spending around €76,000. Why the huge difference? It's simple. Higher salaries. The more you pay your superstars, the more it costs when they're not on the field.
And this isn't just a Spanish problem, not at all. Let's hop over to Germany's Bundesliga, where another study measured the impact not just in cold hard cash, but in something that's arguably just as valuable, a team's final rank in the league table.
And then the number they landed on was 4.33. That study figured out that an increase of just about 4 injured players over a season was directly linked to dropping 1 full rank in the final standings. In a league where a single position can mean the difference between making the Champions League and missing out on tens of millions of euros, that's a monumental impact. So whether we're looking at Germany or Spain, the story is pretty much the same, even if the main thing you're measuring is a little different. In the Bundesliga, it's the sheer number of players getting hurt that drags a team down. In La Liga, where the big money is really concentrated at the top, it's the highest-paying teams that get hit the hardest financially. At the end of the day, injuries cost you, big time.
You know, when you see this kind of financial pressure, it's no wonder that leagues are, or at least they should be, so incredibly focused on getting their player health policies right. This isn't just about winning or doing the right thing. It's about protecting a massive multi-million-dollar investment. So how can they do better?
And that brings us to our next big idea, learning from the competition. I mean, in any business, if you want to get better, one of the smartest things you can do is look at what your rivals are doing better than you are. And that's precisely what that Harvard Law School report did. They took on this huge project to compare health and safety policies across the NFL, Major League Baseball, the NBA, and other pro leagues, all to figure out, what are the best practices that could be shared.
And their main finding was pretty fascinating. The report basically said that, on the whole, the NFL's policies on player health seemed to be better than the other leagues. But, and this is the really important part, they were quick to add that there are several ways in which the NFL can learn from other leagues. So, even the leader of the pack has plenty of room to improve.
So, what do those improvements actually look like in practice? Let's get into the specifics, because the report lays out this really clear blueprint for better player health that, honestly, any league could learn from. I mean, check this out. This table from the Harvard report lays out some brilliant ideas from other leagues. For preseason physicals, the Canadian Football League uses a neutral doctor, SMART. For concussions, MLB has a dedicated, specific injury list. And for post-career care, get this, MLB, the NBA, and the NHL all offer health insurance for life. These aren't just theories. These are proven policies that are already out there working.
Let's just break down some of the most powerful recommendations here. First, that concussion-specific injury list like MLB has. That allows for specialized recovery time without the pressure to rush a player back. Second, health insurance for life. I mean, wow, that's a total game changer for athletes whose careers can be brutally short. Third, using neutral doctors for physicals, like in the CFL. This gets rid of any potential conflicts of interest where a team doctor might feel pressured to clear a player. And finally, guaranteeing more of the contract money, which would bring the NFL more in line with the other Big Four leagues.
So let's tie all of this together. What's the bottom line here? It's a simple but incredibly powerful concept in the world of professional sports. Health is wealth.
And the really crucial thing to take away from all this is the idea of indirect costs of injury. We're not talking about the doctor's bills or the surgery costs here. We're talking about the huge, colossal financial losses a team takes from worse performance, from sliding down the league table, and from losing out on all that incredibly lucrative prize money and TV revenue. That's where the real pain is.
And that brings us to the core takeaway. Investing in player health isn't just some ethical imperative or a nice thing to do to maybe win a few more games. Based on all the data, it's one of the most critical, high-return business strategies a modern sports franchise can possibly adopt. Period.
And that leaves us with one final big question. As the money flowing into sports just gets bigger and bigger, and the physical demands on these athletes grow more and more intense, will leagues finally start treating player health as the strategic, long-term investment that it is, or will they just keep seeing it as an unavoidable cost of doing business? The answer to that question is going to define the future of the games we all love.